Here is a demo review for corn ducks on QaK Lakeside. It's the 2 to 2 scrim against, it looks like, the cuties or whatever they're called. Mostly be watching in third person. So their demo beats your demo slightly to mid. Demo's pretty low. You guys send quite a bit to Lake House. You guys are all fairly hurt, and they're taking point presence, and because of their point presence, they're able to do damage a lot better to you guys, but you guys end up fragging them somehow. And then you guys group up and take point together. So you guys managed to absorb their aggression wall, and then re-push onto point, but you guys get collateraled. One thing you can do to avoid snipers if they're on the right side, if you just stand right here, you can't get sniped from the right. They can still spam down on main if they're pushing you. So that's just something to think about. Here you have advantage, so it's fine to just back up until you get the Uber and then be ready to repush, which looks like it's exactly what you guys are doing, so that's very good. And then here, since you see they're all close, your demo should probably just be reloading and then making sure he has ammo loaded for the Uber. But instead you guys are sort of spamming aggressively, and you end up falling back and getting forced. So just trying to make sure you're communicating that Uber's almost ready, and just trying to make sure the rest of your team is feeding info, and so you know where their medic is. Because in that situation, if you had just delayed a few seconds with your demo, and then Ubered in when he had 8 stickies loaded, their med was fairly close, so you most likely could have captured, or killed their med rather. And then here you guys are doing a job keeping forward pressure, but since your demo just spawned, it's really hard for you guys to keep them locked out. Seems like your spy is on the sniper, so that's very good. Dealing with the sniper and just keeping him down and then opening up the point for your team is really huge. Even if you're not getting combo picks as a spy, just farming the sniper is super key on Lakeside. Here you guys have advantage again, and so it's fine that you were backing up some, but if you're going to be backing up, you want to make sure it's intentional and you're just sort of baiting the point and waiting to get Uber, and then you're able to re-push really quickly. Because just sort of backing up like that is something you really want to try to avoid on Lakeside. Your demo was dead, so that could be a reason why they're able to get in. But just playing the Uber percentages better, I think, would help you guys a lot. Just being ready to back up, build the last 10-15% and then re-push immediately. Some could definitely help you. Here your demo is starting to walk out, and they have absolutely no presence forward. So here you can just be calling for almost your whole team to just sort of swarm forward onto point. Here you do a suicide. It's a really nice backstab, I guess, on their medic. But usually Lakeside, because pushing up and taking the point allows you to sort of spam down on the other classes that are alive. Dry pushing rather than doing suicides is usually better, despite the success you had there. Usually if you just sort of commit your team to just walking to point, especially against what they were doing of being passive, you could have most likely captured the point. And here your demo is forward alone. Not sure if that's him just being over-aggressive or your team not pushing up with him, but just trying to make sure you're with your team. And moving forward together is really important because the point's so wide on Lakeside, people can be peeking you from either side. And here their demo goes aggressive, but it doesn't look like any of you guys are really there to collapse on them. Here, since they're distracted, would be a good time to start walking in, and your scout, heavy, and med are all pushing towards the point. You take out the gun. You're doing a good job here. Heavy is locking out the left side, but it looks like your med and your scout and your demo are sort of split up, and you want to try to be making sure you're calling which side of the point you're fighting on, because it's pretty wide, and so being ready to actually fight from the same side is pretty key, because if you just take heals off for even 5-10 seconds, you can lose players. Just making sure the med and the demo are on the same side can be pretty helpful. But here you get a bunch of kills. Heavy has the right idea there of pushing forward and making sure to try to clean up the rest of the players, but either he needs to calm that he's doing that, or the rest of your team just needs to come with him to make sure you actually finish off these kills here. Because letting people stay just sort of sitting here allows them to just pick off people if they overextend, and it allows them to instantly be contesting the point. So just making sure that once you've sort of won the initial fight, just having pretty much your whole team just sort of pinch down on them from both sides and just clean up whatever players are left in. And then here, everybody sort of leaves your scout alone, so if the heavy had hit his shots there, it could have ended poorly for you guys. Just making sure you guys are pushing forward onto them and pinching them together from both sides can definitely help you. Here, you're holding a little bit passive. I'd like to see you guys more on point. Then again, you might not know where the sniper is, but as soon as you see the sniper, it's fine to be standing on the point, playing right here, because you won't get sniped, and you can just contest them from walking in. It's a big thing that on Lakeside that a lot of people don't understand, is that if you actually commit to playing on the point and just being aware of the sniper, and just sort of using the lake house and the pillars to avoid the sidelines, you can just completely lock down people from walking in. Here it's just sort of scrappy, have to go to the point because they're in overtime, but just trying to position yourself more on point to lock them out could definitely help with your holds. Guys get a nice early kill on their demo, and usually when that happens, you want to sort of slow it down and just turn it into a spam battle, because in the spam battle you'll be able to win 9 times out of 10 if you just play slow and together, because you have the demo advantage, and on mid fights especially, demos can do an insane amount of damage. So just sort of waiting and spamming them slowly down is usually the best way to fight after getting a demo pick. Whenever you get like a big combo pick like the demo or the medic, you just want to sort of blob up around your demo and medic and make sure you keep that advantage and you're actually able to put the advantage to use. But there it seemed like you guys were a bit spread out, and so your med ended up going down. But here you guys are doing a good job of being on the point and aggressively fighting them. Demo's caught out, Scout does a good job of pressuring him away, but just needs to make sure that your Scout's living. You guys are keeping your aggressive forward presence here, which is very good. If you're holding on the right side of point, something you can try is having your sniper sort of with your combo and watching the bottom left, because it's a lot easier for you to contest main if you're holding on this side. That's a really good timing on your soldiers bombing in when they're pushing, because that's when the heavy's not rev and that's when they're trying to fight forward and not something that's right on their combo. You just do a good job of sort of backing up and playing together there and just absorbing their push. So that was well done. But fortunately your med gets sniped. So in those situations when you have advantage, it's fine if your med's just playing quite defensive, sort of back here, because you can still heal people on the point for the most part, especially that late in a fight when you guys already had a big advantage. So possibly as medic, pretty much only the medic can do that, because you need people forward and pressuring, but it's definitely something to think about once you've sort of already gotten the picks and the games, or the fight is going in your direction. Here, you know they have big advantage. Your flank's pushing out top right, that's fine. Your sniper is pretty far forward because he took the teleporter, but you guys are working your way out. Again, your demo is in front of your entire team alone, and so he gets caught out by the scout here. It just looks like a sort of a lack of communication or just miscommunication. Just making sure your team is ready to go before you start pushing can be really helpful to actually getting successful pushes together. And then oftentimes walking out the left side is better than main, since it's easier to sort of swing wide here and avoid a lot of sightlines. And again, you guys managed to drop their med, that's really good. And then essentially immediately once you get that med pick, you guys should be trying to blob up and just walk forward together. NG has the right idea of pushing forward, but he's alone here. It seems like you guys spent a lot of time sort of regrouping before you pushed forward, when you could have started walking forward almost immediately. You guys do a good job of just walking forward and getting on the cap. Here, you should have tried to take it without Ubering, especially because your med's still at 150. Your demo's AFK, I guess, or lagging. But you should have tried to take that without Uber, because then you would have retained your Uber advantage. But you somehow killed their medic again, so I guess you managed to kill their med. So popping Uber does not really matter there. I'm just fighting the sniper, that's fine. You guys again have good point presence and you're spamming down on them. This is a really good time. Yep, perfect. Your scout's getting aggressive and focusing down the demo. It's really good play right here. And since you've killed their demo and they're probably going to stop pushing as a combo, you guys, yeah, that's exactly what I was going to say. You could rotate to Lake House and clear that. That's again really good job holding. That's pretty hard to avoid the scout rushing up, so you could try having your NG play more towards point and just sort of drop a mini here. That can be really strong because it shoots anything trying to rush forward, or just on the point and have them wrangle at people pushing. But here you guys get sort of isolated, and despite having Uber, you guys wait a very long time to push out. So something you can think about is just trying to use the Uber sooner and not give them so much cap time and so much positioning, because you ended up losing players there before you popped, and so the post-Uber fight is probably going to go to them. And then again, your med and demo are a little separated, but you guys do a good job of sort of collapsing on a point again, with your soldiers bombing in and your scout pressuring the heavy. And the demo's low here, should be able to clean them up. But you guys did a good job of holding there, besides the fact that you could have used into them a little bit more aggressive. Because if you had Uber there, you would have been on the high ground with Uber and just been able to clean them up much more effectively. But here again, you have an advantage, so just sticking it out and playing on the point so aggressively is something that can work, and it definitely worked here. But another thing to consider is just, since you're so close to Uber, just sort of backing off a little bit, regrouping, having your demo get just 8 stickies loaded, and then just re-pushing the point with Uber. Because when you're getting a scrappy fight, it can really go either way. Maybe I didn't see some damage that was done, but just being able to re-push with Uber is usually a lot safer. Here your flank's getting picked, and then your demo goes pretty darn aggressive. But in this situation with 3 down, you should definitely be trying to back up a little bit. It's pretty easy to dry push on Lakeside, so if you lose mid, it's not that big of a deal. But your scout and your heavy do a good job of picking their heavy. They end up stabilizing there and just sort of playing together and keeping your med, demo, heavy alive there. And they're able to just clean up the people who overextended. So that was a very good play right there. They're just absorbing their sort of aggressive players coming into you. You're just holding on point. Their sniper's dead, so you should be trying to get forward spam down. Here your med and demo are alone. That's pretty susceptible to having a spidey cloak on them or being rushed by a scout. So probably have the scout or the soldier with your combo in that situation. Here it seemed like your combo was sort of too stuck on fighting Lake House, and you just sort of get trapped in there, isolated by the pyro, and a lot of your team goes down before you even pop. And without a bunch of players, it's really hard to clean up on the Uber, even if you manage to do a lot of damage. But that's the second time you guys sort of got stuck in Lake House and let them walk onto point, kill a bunch of your players, and then recap. So definitely think about using into them more actively, because even if it's even Ubers and you just pop onto them, they're going to have to force in the low ground here, and they're usually going to be blobbed up so you can get them to flash. And then in the post-Uber fight, you'll have the high ground and the advantage. So just making sure you don't get isolated in Lake House and using Ubers so they can't get positioning on you, something you guys could try. But you guys had a really good hold and managed to get it down to 0. Here you guys walk out top right, and it looks like you guys are trying to get into Lake House, but committing so hard to actually getting into Lake House is not something you need to do. Something that's probably worth trying is just walking up the top right if you want to take a safer pathway, and then sort of walking down the ramp and then coming to point directly. But here you're just sort of stuck in no man's land where they can peek you from point and they can pressure you through Lake House. So you just got pinched and your med went down. But here, since you have so much numbers, you can definitely just be swarming onto point, killing whatever's there, and just aggressively pushing while you have numbers, because the uber advantage doesn't matter a whole lot considering you have so many players alive. But looked like you guys were sort of waiting for your med when you could have just sort of swarmed the point, because as soon as you cap it, you win. I guess my HUD's broken. Maybe... yeah. It seemed like a really fast 3 minutes for that round, but... here, you guys are 3 down, starting to walk back in. You're close to Uber, so you guys could be playing it more slowly, and just, especially since you have a minute and a half left, and you're at 70%, you could have played that slower, just waited to get Uber, and then push into him, to sort of make sure your push is successful. But here, you managed to kill their demos, so just, like that situation before, just getting aggressive and pushing them quickly, where the medic's like 60 heals per second won't really affect the outcome of the fight, but you guys end up just sort of waiting for your med to get back. So that's something that a lot of teams struggle with, but if you can just get everyone to go aggressive at the same time, you can usually crush them if you have a big numbers advantage, regardless of your percentage. Here again, the soldier gets in onto your med. It doesn't look like your NG has any minis up. I haven't seen minis for a while, to be honest. So just trying to have your NG sort of spam out minis instead of focusing the teleporter could be a pretty good option. I think having the teleporter is quite important, but minis, just like other maps, most important at the end of the day. And especially for you guys here, meta's gone down or gotten super low to soldier bombs, and then the minis would help deny that. Just trying to focus dispensers and minis more by point would likely be helpful. Here you force the med, but it seems like you guys were a little bit too committed for this post fight, but you managed to get out with your medic. And this would be a really good situation to just sort of play around your sniper, have him be buffed, and let your sniper get an opening kill, and then re-push off that. But looks like you guys are just have to go to point immediately. You get good point presence, but gun finally goes down. Here you want to be just making sure your heavy is buffed to 450 and getting your scout buffed up, because those hit scan classes are super good in the close fights. That's very strange. Once they got to overtime, it reset your timer up to like 130. But anyways, you guys have Uber advantage, you have numbers, and you're just holding again. Looks like your flank is playing perfectly. They're aggressive on the bats, trying to deny sniper. And at worst you slowed them down, but here your flank should be able to call that they're pushing out. And when you're in Lake House here, the safest way to exit is just to run out this back door and then come back down to point and then go back into them. But here again, your med is sort of stuck in Lake House, then gets denied by the pyro. You lose 3 players, and then they're able to end their Uber on the high ground with their combo alive. So definitely trying to get out of Lake House sooner and actually meet them on point with your Uber could actually probably would have changed the outcome of the last 2 rounds, and you would have won 3-0 here. So just making sure your Ubers are used more aggressively, and that you're ending the post fight with pretty much everybody who you can on point, and just sort of focusing the frags behind the point. That could be due to just your combo not being aware that they're pushing, so just focusing on having your flank calm and having your spy calm where their combo is can be really helpful. Here again, your engineer, I guess, died almost instantly, but just having them roll on bats and dropping a mini right here can be pretty strong for the initial bombs on mid. You can also help protect your sniper if the soldier's trying to bomb the sniper. And then as well as your heavy, just sort of instantly revving way back here, just making sure he's 100% aware of the soldier bomb, because I think the soldier has been bombing pretty often, so just trying to recognize the patterns and then just be prepared for it. QaK, I think, is a ringer medic. At least from what I can tell. I think you guys have heavy Uber Charger as your medic. So that could be why you're having some struggle Ubers, just not as coordinated as you normally are. Here you get a pick on their demo, and you guys are pressuring forward. Your pyro should probably be with your med here, ready to back out once they pop into you. And here is your pyro. Their med drops somehow. It's a really good play by you guys by just sort of swarming forward as a blob and just forcing them out. Because you got a bunch of kills, and then you ended up dropping their medic. Here your scout could be trying to get aggressive onto their sniper, but your spy's taking care of him. And the sniper goes down, so you guys should be trying to be aggressive on point. And here you guys have Uber. Their med's close, so this would be a perfect time to just use into them. But you're slowly, I guess those two players died because they're fighting the sniper, but here you guys you could have used a decent amount sooner, because then they wouldn't get cap time, and it looks like almost your entire team is super low for this post-Uber fight. So again, just trying to Uber into them sooner, and just make sure you're actually playing from the high ground for the post-Uber fights. That can be really effective, especially since their sniper was dead right there. It's just again and again you guys are trying to maybe bait the point and then using them, but just on this map it's pretty different from Viaducts, where playing super passive can often be the best. Here, oftentimes you want to just use onto them and not let them take positioning on point. Here you guys are just slowly working out. Scout busted through, made space. Sniper's just sort of hard scooping on main, so it's fine to rotate around to the left quickly. Looks like some of your players are going in, but some are not, including your medic. You guys could have seen that their sniper backed up, and they ended up dying. So now your med comes out when it's safe, that's fine. Here your demo's sort of stuck in, so getting aggressive on them could have been a decent option. And then your med just gets bombed and drops. Looks like your NG was trying to build a teleporter in the middle of the fight. I think it would have been a lot better to be focusing on minis there rather than teleporters, because the tele only really matters once you have the point you're trying to hold, and in that situation definitely having a mini up would have helped. And even if you're not spamming out minis, if you have low metal, it's fine to just be pushing forward and shotgunning across the point, because just peeking over the point, shooting, but falling back, shooting, falling back, and you can do quite a bit of damage and really help your team push out. Here you're doing a job of not overextending and just sort of locking them out at the choke there. But it's just an even Uber fight. The demo sort of gets through for free here, which is pretty unfortunate. It ends up killing or leading to the death of your combo. But your pick classes and your pyro get some kills, and so it's pretty even here. You're retaining control of the point. But here, it looks like your med's only with your NG, so trying to play around your medic in those situations can be really important, because those little bits of heals, especially when there's low numbers, can make a big difference in the fight rather than when there's a lot of players. Here again, your NG is really focusing on teleporters. Just focusing minis would most certainly be better, because the soldier would have been at least slowed down by the mini there. But you guys managed to get 2 kills with the Uber, kill their meds, so you should just be blobbing up, playing heals here, and cleaning up the players on point as you cap. And that's exactly what you're doing, so good job with that. The sniper's on left, the heavy's on demo's left, so just playing right here, you can spam main, and you can spam down left without peeing the sniper. So making sure you're using the obelisks. Here you're losing players, so just trying to delay them slightly, and then back up. Here the demo's dead, so you can just try to play a little bit slowly and spam them as they come over the point. Again, you know where their sniper is, and you're doing a good job of avoiding the sight lines. You're close to Ubers, so you're doing a good job of not like overextending to fight the point. Here you're just making sure you're going to get the Uber. fairly low time, so just using aggressively straight into him here is a good option, which is what you do. Even if you don't kill their medic, they won't really have time to get Uber, let alone have the Uber close enough to your combo to actually do anything. So just sort of focusing on fragging every other class could have been a better option there, considering how much time there was left. Because at the very end, the Uber is not really going to make a big difference, because they still have to spawn and walk all the way to point. So just trying to clean up the frags as much as possible. But you end up losing your demo there. Here, just they have to hold it for 26 seconds, so just playing slowly and using the heal advantage. It's definitely a good option. Looks like you're doing that for the most part.
It's thundering here, man.
And there is the 4th round.
Outside with an umbrella.
People are talking to Mumble.
Struck by lightning, dude. Pre-workout of the...
But overall, just trying to make sure you use the Ubers more aggressively and try to end the Ubers on the point, so you have a favorable post-Uber fight. It could be very helpful for you guys. And then just trying to have your NG play more aggressive with his minis, and so your meta has a little bit more protection. Other than that, you guys are doing a pretty good job of just playing together and not sort of splitting off, except for the few times when your demo got ahead of your team. So just trying to clean up your combos positioning, I think, would go a really long way with your team. But hopefully this demo review is helpful, and you guys are able to improve.